Stephen A. Smith, I was dumbfounded by those remarks from the highest-ranking authority at Texas A&M University. Maybe, once again, I am misinterpreting said remarks, but I'm not going to let Mr. Sharp get away with disqualifying himself as saying, I'm only speaking for me. Well, Mr. Chancellor, you can't. You are the Chancellor of the university. When you speak to the media, we have to remember that you are that man, the Chancellor. And between the lines, I was interpreting this, Stephen A., as he was saying, hey, Johnny broke a bad rule. He seemed to be admitting some guilt, but it's a bad rule. Most of us, right-minded humans, think it's a terrible rule. I've said it for 20, 30 years. Stephen A. has said it more times than I have. We all pretty much agree it's a bad rule, but it's still a rule. And Johnny stands accused of blatantly, brazenly, repeatedly violating said rule. So I guess that Texas A&M, with their lawyers that Johnny and family have hired, are going to attempt to argue to the NCAA, or as we speaking, we need to change the rule. We did it, but we need to change this. Stephen A., I'm not sure that's going to fly with Mark Emmert, the president of the NCAA. I think that could actually offend him even more and move him to come down even harder on Johnny Manziel. And I hope I'm wrong about that.
You know, Skip, the one thing about it is that I find myself sitting here on national TV taking a position that I don't know if I've ever taken before, and that is applauding stupidity, because it is clear that the Chancellor wasn't very smart in coming out and saying what he said when the NCAA has yet to hand down its ruling. It is clear that his remarks could easily be interpreted as what you interpreted them as being, that somehow, some way Johnny Manziel is guilty, but at the same time, it's a stupid rule. I can't blame you for making that interpretation based on what the Chancellor said, because that's exactly how it came across. But at the same time, if you are the Chancellor, if you are the leader of the university, if you have exploited Johnny Manziel to the hilt, the way I believe Texas A&M has, like any other school would, when it comes to them having a particular star on their campus, then I do think it's apropos at times to come out in defense of them, as opposed to always being PC, as opposed to always sitting there and taking the company line in the interest of protecting and shielding yourself from the potential or imminent wrath of the NCAA. If you are Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel has put you on the map. You are relevant. You are not just a championship contender. You have a resident Heisman Trophy winner, the eye of the college football world, even with Alabama. Roll Tide, the national champion, two-time national champions, all right, on the horizon, on your schedule set for September 14th. There is no question that Texas A&M is the most watched program in the nation right now, simply because Johnny Manziel is there. So as a result of that, as a chancellor, to stand up and for once come to the defense of a student athlete, I actually appreciated it, even though I recognize it's just not that smart because the NCAA is coming. It's just not that smart because Mark Emmert is going to try to set an example and send a message. It's just not that smart because it came across as you feeling as if he's guilty but saying it's a stupid rule, so the punishment shouldn't be great. All of those things are true, and that's why I say I find myself in an unfamiliar position of supporting and complimenting stupidity. Because it wasn't smart, but okay. I don't blame him.
So you are a smart man. Give me your 2 cents on this. Is there any way that Mark Emmert sits back after watching that interview and says, you know what? He's right. This is a silly, hypocritical rule, and we need to change it. We need to go soft here on Johnny, to go easy. No.
I don't see that.
No.
I don't see that.
Sorry.
I don't see that at all. Not from anybody associated with the NCAA.
It might even hurt the case.
I'm afraid it will hurt the case.
I would say that. Skip thinks his comments might hurt Johnny Manziel.